Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Man, what can't I say about this game? This game is great. However, today, we're not going to be taking a look at zombies nor multiplayer. Today, we're going to be covering why I believe that Call of Duty Black Ops 1 had the greatest campaign of all time. Now, that's a pretty hefty statement considering all the wonderful games that Call of Duty has given us in the past. But there are certain moments in this campaign that prove to me and should prove to you why Black Ops 1 had the greatest Call of Duty campaign experience to date, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Absolute Cinema. Let's dive right on in to why Black Ops 1 is the greatest Call of Duty of all time. I gotta get this mission off my chest. This mission has you play as Alex Mason right after the events of Vorkuta. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what Vorkuta is, we will get to that in a few moments. However, for now, you have just escaped a communist prison, and let alone that, a high security military grade communist prison. It's the 1960s, and of course, the CIA wants to know everything about what went down in Vorkuta. However, pressing matters are at hand. You come to find out the Russians are trying to launch the Soyuz 2 missile. We can't let that happen. But who's running the show? Of course, none other than our good old friend Dragovich. And who better to give us this news than the very own Secretary McNamara. You are escorted to the Pentagon in a limousine followed by motorcycles and all types of cops. All this tells me is how serious this Nikita Dragovich guy is. But there's another motive to why you are being led to the Pentagon. See, you have been brainwashed. You just don't know it yet. They brainwash you in Vorkuta, and the CIA is watching you at all times. And this mission does both of these elements down to a T. And that brings me to the basis of my argument. The anti-hero. This is the first and only COD, and forgive me if I am wrong, I have not played any of these modern Call of Duties because, truth be told, they are just not enough. They do not reach the caliber that was the Black Ops 1 campaign. Enough rambling though. This campaign goes through the arc of what it is to be an anti-hero. On one hand, you have a great evil waiting to destroy freedom as we know it. And that's the trope that Call of Duty has always stuck with. However, this campaign switches it up in a spectacular way. Plot twist. We are the bad guy. There were times where we went dark, where we can't retrace our steps in our memory. What have we become? What the hell do these numbers mean? Why am I in interrogation? Most importantly, where is Victor Reznov? These are all the questions that Alex Mason is asking himself as Jason Hudson and Weaver are interrogating him. However, back to the mission at hand. We are escorted through the Pentagon by Secretary McNamara, followed alongside Jason Hudson. He leads us down to the inner sanctum where we meet President John F. Kennedy. He tells us and warns us of the incoming danger. Dragovich, Kravchenko, these evil men want to put an end to the world as we know it. However, the president keeps a watchful eye on us. He knows where we have been, and he knows what they have done to us. As we get closer to the intersanctum, where John F. Kennedy resides, we begin to hear numbers. We begin to see numbers. And we get an itching sensation. We were getting close to our target. See, when we were in Vorkuta, we were brainwashed by Dragovich, Kravchenko, and a Nazi scientist named Steiner. They implanted codes into our head, those numbers. One of these codes that was implanted into our mind was the code to kill our president, John F. Kennedy. Now, the CIA definitely suspected this. This is why we were under surveillance and why we have to meet with John F. Kennedy on this day. We had to prove ourselves to the American government that we were not compromised. Kennedy sits down next to us and begins to explain the situation that Secretary McNamara had very briefly gone over with us in the limo. He begins to tell us how Dragovich is like a poison, but suddenly the numbers infiltrate our mind. The word Dragovich sets off a code, and all of a sudden we're pointing a gun at the president. Yes, Call of Duty went that far. It was not afraid to show what really went down during the Cold War. MK Ultra, brainwashing, assassination attempts, you name it. And spoiler alert, we do end up being the man behind the smoking gun who killed JFK. I believe Call of Duty has lost the balls to make games this great, this real, this impactful. Now, there is so much more that I want to dive into with this campaign with you guys. However, I am going to leave it as this. This can be a pilot or a part 1 or maybe just a teaser for a longer video. I'm not too sure yet. But in conclusion, I want to leave you guys off with just a little bit of gameplay, raw gameplay of Black Ops 1. The combat, the quotes, the action, the intensity, and the emotion that you can feel just playing this game. This game defines Black Ops to a whole nother level. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Effexler, and I will catch you guys in the next Call of Duty video.
What are you, SOG?
Just give me the radio.
Look at that shit.
Texas, this is Sierra Oscar Golf X-ray. Priority 1, ordnance in my command. I authenticate Golf 2, over.
Roger that, we're in now.
Got that detonator?
Right here.
Weapons free! Keep your eyes open for that CPU! Keep your hands down! We're clear! Contact on the roof! Drop them! Raising deck position!
Let's go.
Ready?
Ready when you are.
Steiner's not here.
It's locking down!
What is that?
This is Friedrich Steiner.
He's jamming our radios. He knew we'd be here.
On camera, he's watching us.
The knowledge is knowing everything that everyone connected to Project Nova. I am sure I will be next.
What do you want?
Targets marked across the states.
All across America, the road is sleeper cells waiting for the signal to Nova 6.
Weaponized Nova 6.
The numbers broadcast. What do they mean?
6 hours, the sleeper troops will receive their final orders. Only I can tell you how to stop the broadcast.
We need to leave now.